Hello and welcome to our presentation on fair trade. My name's Rachel and I'm joined by Sheila and Alison. We're all members of St Paul's Church, and as part of our care for God's creation, we think it's important to buy fair trade goods. We want to tell you a bit about fair trade, what it means, what you can buy that is fairly traded, and where you can get it. So, firstly, what is fair trade? Fair trade is an internationally recognised standard to ensure that farmers and workers in the developing world receive better prices, have decent working conditions, and encourages local sustainability and fair terms of trade. By requiring companies to pay sustainable prices, which must never fall lower than the market price, fair trade attempts to tackle the injustices of conventional trade, which often discriminates against the most vulnerable. Fair trade enables the vulnerable to improve their position and have more control over their lives. So why should we buy fairly traded goods? There are various reasons. Economic. The fair trade minimum price is supporting farmers that grow products such as cocoa, coffee, and bananas to become more income secure and less vulnerable to poverty. Environmental. The fair trade standards promote training for farmers, which can include advice on switching to environmentally friendly practices, such as developing nutrient-rich soils that support healthy plants, and encouraging wildlife to help control pests and diseases. Social benefits. Farmers and workers who choose to participate in fair trade often feel a real sense of control over their future, with greater power and voice. As Christians, we believe it is important because we believe that as Christians, we should be against exploited labour. God requires us to act with justice and equality. Work in itself is biblical, and fair trade respects people and is a way of showing God's love. In Proverbs chapter 14, verse 31, and this is the Message version, it says, "You insult your maker when you exploit the powerless. When you're kind to the poor, you honour God." And there's some other Bible verses there that you might like to look up. They all talk about some of these aspects of how God asks us to act in society. Now Alison is going to tell us what we can buy and where we can buy it.
Fair trade products are available in many places. Most well-known supermarkets will stock a range of coffees, teas, wine and bananas, as well as chocolates or snacks. If you buy from them, you are sending a clear message that consumers care about supporting producers. For a wider range of products, you mostly have to go online. Tradecraft is probably still the best known, and as well as selling Christmas cards and gifts, has a wider range of dried goods than the supermarkets. I buy fair trade rice, pasta, nuts and dried fruit from them. There are other ethical online stores too. Most products that have gained fair trade certification are foods. Coffee, tea, cocoa and treats containing chocolate are the most common, and wine is becoming more widely available. Other newer products include spices from Bart and olive oil. All the sugar sold in the Co-op now is fair trade, and many other stores stock some fair trade sugar. There is some fresh produce also, bananas, green beans and roses all the way from Africa. Some cosmetic lines, such as Eau de Lique, are using fair trade product in some of their offering, but here again the widest choice is online. Other well-known high street stores such as Body Shop and Lush have their own fairly traded sourcing schemes. Cotton is used in a lot of our clothes and bedding, and you might think this is much better than using synthetic fabrics derived from fossil fuels. However, most cotton is grown using a lot of pesticides and water, and labour conditions can be poor. Some high street retailers, including White Stuff, are trialling using Fairtrade certified cotton in some of their clothes. M&S used to sell a range of Fairtrade t-shirts, but now, along with H&M, ASOS, Levi's, Sainsbury's and IKEA, work with something called the Better Cotton Initiative across the whole of their cotton, which uses less water and pesticides. Sheila will now talk more about other certification standards.
Any product which you buy which has the characteristic Fairtrade logo as displayed here will have been certified as Fairtrade by the Fairtrade Foundation. There are several other organisations which promote their products as Fairtrade, such as Equal Exchange, which is a worker-owned cooperative. Many of its products, such as coffee, tea, nuts and oils, are Fairtrade and will be labelled with the familiar blue-green logo. But Equal Exchange are only distributors of Fairtrade goods and do not bring benefit to the producers in the same way as the Fairtrade Foundation. The Rainforest Alliance is another non-profit organisation like Fairtrade Foundation, which provides certification for products which are grown without damage to existing forests, which reduce the effects of climate change and also protect the rights of rural people. Again, a lot of their products, such as coffee, tea, chocolate and bananas, will be fair trade, but that is not their primary focus, as you would guess from their logo, their title of Rainforest Alliance. At an international level, the World Fair Trade Organization focuses on whole enterprises as well as fair trade products. Many organizations like Tradecraft and Oxfam and Ethical Superstore source some products from them and carry their logo. So they may well be fair trade, but only if they've got the Fairtrade Foundation logo. Finally, Cadbury's chocolate, which used to be Fairtrade certified, is now labelled with a Cocoa Life logo. Cocoa Life is Cadbury's programme which works directly with cocoa farmers and provides training and community planning skills. They will remain, though, in partnership with Fairtrade, although their logo will now be different. So I think you need to just look at the labels and decide for yourself which one would be the best to use or to buy. Thank you. The Fairtrade Foundation website has the full range of information about fair trade. More to add on to what we've already mentioned today, and also sections on fair trade for schools and fair trade for business. In the Media Centre, there are also several blogs and videos describing the work of the fair trade farmers and workers. There are even videos on how to make perfect filter coffee or even an espresso martini. Do have a look. Thank you.
The thing I've been asked is, why don't we just buy cheaper goods and then make charitable donations? Wouldn't that be as good as buying fair trade goods?
I have heard that mentioned, but I'm not really, I don't really believe that people would share the food, the money that they saved if they did that. I think they would probably just spend it on something else that they needed rather than giving it away. I think if they were going to give it away, they would already do that as charitable giving.
And I think it also misses out on the benefits of the empowerment that fair trade gives. Certainly when I looked on the website that you just referred to, Sheila, there were some great stories of people having transformed lives through fair trade.
Yes,
and it was about working in a better way.
Yeah, that is one of its main benefits, is that it empowers people and provides them, often if they form a cooperative as they work, then that has amazing benefits and empowers them mentally as well as financially.
Yeah.
If you buy
goods that are not fair traded, the money is going to the middlemen rather than the producers. Whereas if you're buying the fair trade products, the premium goes right back to the producers, who are almost certainly the ones with the lowest standard of living.
Yeah.
I think it also encourages those cooperative groups to organise themselves better, and also to be able to provide education for their families. It's generally it's a blessing to everybody all around, really. And we had another question, was whether we should was there any benefit to buying fair trade rather than buying local goods? And I think there's a lot of views to be held on that, but I don't know, what do any of you think?
I think very often it's not a choice. Bananas cannot be produced locally, but in the supermarket, you can usually choose between a fair trade banana or a non-fair trade banana. Yeah. Other things can be produced locally. You should probably try and buy local fruit and veg as much as possible. Meat also, if you still eat meat, you can perhaps buy it from a local farm shop. And there wouldn't be the option to buy fairly traded meat or cabbages or carrots.
I guess it all comes down to who is benefiting, and if it's a local person, then they are going to be benefiting, or their workers are going to be benefiting, rather than middlemen who are benefiting in that way.
Yeah, we have a short video from the Fairtrade website, which we've found inspiring and hope you do too. We'd really encourage you to contact us if you've got any query. And there's an email address, creationcare@stpauls-st-albans.org, and those queries will get to us. We're interested in hearing what you think about fair trade, and we can share our experiences. Thank you very much for being with us today.
On travaille nuit et jour sous la pluie. Le soleil nous tape, mais on ne gagne pas beaucoup d'argent. Quand les primes viennent et puis on nous donne dans la partie du film, là, ça me plaît beaucoup. Fait, on envoie la prime et puis on partage soit des kits, on construit des écoles, aider les autres élèves, les autres enfants dans l'école si les parents n'ont pas les moyens, et puis faire des jugements supplétifs et autres là.
Je suis animatrice, productrice au sein de la coopérative. Je suis mère d'un enfant célibataire.
Et mon fils a 14 et 13 ans, il est dans une école publique, c'est une école de l'État. Concernant la prime Fairtrade, la coopérative va faire des dons quelquefois dans leur école. Ça me motive même à travailler même pour Fairtrade, et puis avoir toujours du cacao Fairtrade, vendre du cacao aux gens de Fairtrade. Pour son futur, je souhaite pour un avenir radieux. Il faudrait qu'il devienne vraiment quelqu'un de bien dans la vie. Je m'investis beaucoup dans son éducation, surtout son éducation et puis sa manière de faire. Que lorsque les femmes n'ont pas leur revenu dans leur main, et puis c'est le mari qui garde, elles ne sont pas autonomes. Si elles ont besoin d'acheter quelque chose, elles sont obligées d'aller vers leur mari, et puis est-ce que c'est sûr que le monsieur va leur donner? Non, c'est un danger même, il fait que c'est pas bien. Si moi par exemple je travaille avec mon mari, que je ne dispose de rien, et les revenus, mais je ne sais même pas où ça va. Donc quand c'est comme ça, la femme c'est comme si ce qu'elle a fait la main c'est zéro.
Fairtrade m'a apporté beaucoup, je peux dire beaucoup. Fairtrade m'a permis de connaître davantage mes droits et devoirs. On voit que ce que l'homme fait, la femme aussi peut faire. Donc Fairtrade m'a appris beaucoup, à transformer en quelque sorte. Je souhaite que toutes les femmes de mon groupement soient autonomes. Elles aient même leur argent pour subvenir à leurs besoins. Ça, c'est mon objectif clé.